Welcome. This video is about the second X-flare this month on the 7th of August 2023 that peaked at 2045 UT. A quick summary of the event: it was an X 1.4 flare. That makes it the 8th largest flare during solar cycle 25 so far. It was from active region 3386, which was over the northwest limb. So this flare was actually a much larger event than we saw here on Earth. It started at 2036 and peaked at 2040 UT. You can see an image of the flare here taken with the AIA instrument at 1700 angstroms, and it's that little burst of activity above the limb, so showing that this in fact was behind the west limb. Well, the first thing you ask when you see an event like this, particularly near the west, is was there any ejecta? And to do that, we're going to take a look at the Solar Dynamics Observatory AIA instrument at 304 angstroms. This is in the transition region, so it's about 50,000 degrees. And this is a 6-hour movie with 15 frames per second. Now let's go to higher temperatures. We're going to go up into the lower corona, or the quiet corona, at about 500,000 degrees using the Solar Dynamics Observatory AIA 171 angstrom instrument. This again is a 6-hour movie, and what you're looking at is post-flare loops, these high loops that sit above where the flare occurred. Now let's take a look at the flare itself. Again, we're going to use the Solar Dynamics AIA instrument, but go to 131 angstroms. This is the hottest line available to us and is at about 10 million degrees Kelvin. Again, this is a 6-hour movie with 15 frames per second. Now, any brightening here is a flare of some sort. Last but not least, we're going to look at the outer corona. This is this red area here. For that, we're going to go to a different spacecraft, the SOHO spacecraft, and use the LASCO coronagraph C2. Again, this is a 6-hour movie, but it's at 10 frames per second. So what can we conclude from all of this? This is the light curve of the event, and you can see the X flare there right in the middle, flanked by some fairly large M flares. It was the 8th largest flare since the beginning of solar cycle 25, which was in January of 2020. However, we can probably go back another 3 or 4 years before solar cycle 24 produced anything of this size. It did produce a coronal mass ejection, and the question is, will that affect Earth? And because this flare was behind the west limb, it was probably too far west to affect us and produce a geomagnetic storm. It did, however, produce some protons at the Earth. You can see the proton flare rate going up here, and it did exceed the 10 mega electron volt warning threshold. And it looks as though it's actually still going up. It produced a strong radio blackout on the daylit side of the Earth. That would have been North America and the Pacific Ocean. We can expect many more of the same sorts of things as the sun becomes more active as it reaches towards solar maximum. So thank you for watching. And until next time, stay safe and goodbye.